It should come as no surprise to my friends and viewers that trading card games have always had a very special place in my heart. In this series, both Raikourider and myself will be opening 24 packs, or one box, of a core Yu-Gi-Oh set. Every week we will add an additional core set to our collections, moving in chronological order. We will use these cards to create a deck and then face off against one another in a best 2 out of 3 match, with the winner receiving 2 prizes to upgrade their deck, while the loser receives 1. These prizes can range from wildcards, to sealed product, to starter decks, and more. Every card that has been released will be available to us at least once. However, we cannot rest on our laurels. Between the ever-evolving nature of the Forbidden and Limited list, the cards that we ourselves choose to banish into the Shadow Realm, and even the way the very rules of the game will change, will keep our decks and our duels fresh. This is yet another Yu-Gi-Oh! Progression series. Okay, last week's match went really well for us. Unfortunately, it did come at a cost of losing Jinzo, but we can bounce back from that easily. So, our next set is Legacy of Darkness. This set was released in June of 2003. This set introduced the Spirit archetype, a series of monsters with the ability of bouncing themselves back into the hand at the end of the turn they are summoned, and they each have different unique effects. Some of them are pretty bad, but some of them are actually pretty good on their own. So we're going to go through some of the basic cards here and try to explain why some of these cards are really important for us to get. First up, we have a Nava White Rabbit. This is actually one of the short print cards, and it's one of the spirit monsters that has the effect of being able to attack the opponent directly. And with 700 attack, it's not very strong, but if we can set up a wall, we can theoretically use this to punch at Rai every so often and make it harder for him to actually get back at us. And in fact, if we can find a way to stop his Vengeful Block Spirit, this could be a good way to help alleviate anything from his stalling strategy. Scrolling through some of the rest of the cards into the commons, we have, let's see, Warrior Digrapher is a 1700 attacker, basic warrior, pretty good in general. Emergency Provisions is actually a pretty good card too. We could send as many spell and traps we control to the grave as we want, and if we do, we gain 1,000 life points for each one. Now, unfortunately, we do not have a card at the moment that really benefits from this, like, say, Mirage of Nightmare. But the idea with this card is that you could send off a card that would have a bad effect, or say something like a negative cost, and you could not only send that card to the graveyard to avoid the cost, but also gain some life points in the process. The Dragon Dwelling in the Cave is a 2k defending dragon, pretty good monster to have on hand. Troop Dragon's basically just going to recycle itself to the field every time it's destroyed in battle, so it's a recruiter, but not necessarily a great one. Stamping Destruction's a good spell card. This actually has a lot of this set actually has a lot of dragon support in it. If you have a dragon monster on the field, you can destroy one spell or trap card your opponent controls, and if you do that, you can inflict 500 damage to the controller of the card. So, if Rai has, we could actually use this to get rid of the Vengeful Bog Spirit, for example. Dragon's Rage gives all dragon monsters you control the piercing ability, which is pretty good. Let's see, keeping to scrolling through. This one. This is a card we really want to see a few copies of. A Legendary Ocean. This card is always treated as Yumi, and all water monsters on the field gain 200 attack and defense, and on top of that, all water monsters in both players' hands and on the field get their level reduced by 1. So this allows you to summon anything. If you have a level 5 water monster in hand, this card lets you normal summon it without a tribute. That is a huge benefit. And if we can pull 3 of these, we are absolutely going to keep that in mind. So scrolling further, we actually have Bad Reaction to Samachi, which is a card that I feel like Rai is going to want to play for sure. This card's effect is that as long as it's face up, any effect of increasing your opponent's life points is changed to inflicting that amount of damage to their life points. So like for example, if this card is face up and I activate Rain of Mercy, I'll gain 1,000 life points and Rai will take 1,000 points of damage. There's actually a good stun deck with this card as a combo piece. And then Ominous Fortune Telling is another one that's a pain in the butt to deal with. During each of your standby phases, you could select a random card from your opponent's hand and call the type of card. If you get it right, they deal 700 points of damage to your opponent. You use the effect once per turn, but it's a soft once per turn. So if you have multiple copies of this up, then you could actually do it up to 3 times. And on top of that, there's no downside to getting it wrong. In fact, you still get to find out what the card is, so there's basically no downside to this at all. So we're going to scroll up. Now we're going to hit the rares, and here is where we start seeing some of the really good cards here. First things first, we have the A Forces, which gives all warrior monsters you control 200 attack points for every warrior and spellcaster on your side of the field. It isn't a lot at the beginning, but it can definitely add up. The Warrior Returning Alive lets you bring a warrior monster from your graveyard back to your hand. It's a pretty good card to recycle certain cards. Fusion Sword Murasame Blade is a good equipped spell for warriors. It gives 800 attack, and it can't be destroyed by spell effects. Or specifically, it can't be destroyed... I believe it can't be destroyed by any effect that destroys spell cards. Yep, it can't be destroyed by card effects, so that's pretty good. Then we have Magic Reflector, and this is actually a card I really like. You can pick a face-up spell card on the field and that you control, and you place a counter on it. If that spell card would be destroyed, you could remove the counter instead. This is a good way to help protect certain things like, say, a Dark Door, a Vengeful Log Spirit, or even a field spell that you want to keep up. So we're going to really hope we can hit at least one of these. And then we come down to the next two here. Bottomless Chapel is definitely a card we want to see. If your opponent summons a monster with 1500 or more attack, you get to destroy and banish the monster. And the best part is, this card not only does not target, which is really good, but on top of that, if they summon multiple monsters that fit this condition, it destroys all of the monsters that fit it. So if your opponent spam summons something onto the field with a bunch of attack, you could destroy all of them, which is really good. And then finally, we have Royal Oppression, which is probably one of the most hated trap cards in the game. Either player can, when this is face up, either player can pay 800 life points and negate a special summon of a monster or monsters, or a card effect that summons a monster. This is reciprocal. So basically, this means that if one of us has this up, then both players have the option of shutting down any and all special summons. However, there is a hefty life point cost to it, so it is going to be something to pay attention to. So we're going to scroll up into the super rares, and this is where some of the big cards come in. Exile Force is a monster that lets you destroy any monster on the field by tributing this card. Reinforcement of the Army allows us to search it out, as well as any level 4 and lower warrior. And in fact, Exile Force, being a warrior, can be brought back with Warrior Returning Alive, so you could get this effect multiple times. Spear Dragon's a good monster because it has 1900 attack for a level 4, and it has piercing, the piercing ability. However, if it attacks, it's switched into defense mode, so it does have 0 defense, so it can get beat over pretty easily after an attack, but if you have good protection, this is a really strong card. So let's scroll up into the ultra rares, and there's a few bullshit cards here, to be nice about it. Marauding Captain is a very good card. If you normal summon this card, you can special summon another monster that's level 4 or lower from your hand. And if you control any, and as long as Marauding Captain's on the field, then your opponent cannot attack any other warrior monster. So if you have Marauding Captain on the field and you have a second Marauding Captain, your opponent cannot attack warrior monsters, period, including the 2 Marauding Captains. And if your deck is nothing but warriors, then that's a hard lock. Then we have Fiber Jar, which I think might be Rai's, probably the card Rai is absolutely dreading the most. This card, when it's flipped, both players have to shuffle every card in their hand, their field, and their graveyard into the deck, and then draw 5 cards. This basically says restart the duel with your current life point total. And the best part is, Fiber Jar itself gets flipped into the deck as well. So if you have this card, you could constantly recycle it and use its effect. The only way to really stop this thing would be to hit it with a Nobleman of Crossout. And even then, if you have multiple copy, and even then, I don't think either of us have a knock. So that means that destroying this thing is going to be damn near impossible for him. If we pull this, he is going to lose his mind. Air Knight Parshath is a really good card. It's a 1 tribute monster with piercing, and if it deals battle damage, then you'll get to draw a card, which is a really good card. So if you summon it and deal damage to your opponent, you basically go neutral right there, and then you can keep plussing afterwards. Yamada Dragon and Hino Kagutsuchi are pretty good cards, but they're spirit monsters, which means that for 2 tributes, they're really not worth summoning. But they do have strong effects, so if you absolutely need to, you could potentially make some use of them. Creature Swap's a really good card, and this is actually the card I was talking about last time regarding Fire Sorcerer. With this card, both players have to pick a monster they control, and shift control of that monster to the opponent. Those monsters can't change their battle position for that turn, but if you set a Fire Sorcerer and give it to your opponent with Creature Swap, you could ram into that Fire Sorcerer, set off that effect, and even though you take the 800 points of damage, your opponent's losing 2 random cards. That's a huge deal for them. So if we pull this, we have shenanigans. And finally we have last turn, and I am sure that some people are probably dreading this card and do not want to see this thing at all. It can only activate on your opponent's turn when your life points are 1,000 or less. You pick one monster you control, send every other card on the field and in both players' hands to the graveyard, and then your opponent summons and special summons a monster from their deck in attack mode, and attacks your monster. Any battle damage from that battle is 0, and at the end of the match, at the end of the turn, whoever has a monster on the field alone wins the duel. Any other situation is a draw. So, this card is known as a Ruling's Nightmare to the point where there is practically a freaking book. A book of rulings that you have to know. And in fact, it was even known that pretty much if you took it to a tournament, you pretty much had to have the PDF of all the rulings in hand in order to navigate through and figure out what to do here. But there is a big bullshit mechanic with this in that if you have a Jaugen the Spiritualist, which I don't remember if we actually have or not, but if you have that and activate this card, your opponent actually can't special summon a monster, so you win automatically. It's a real crazy card, and if either of us pull this, we are probably going to be seeing it, even if we don't necessarily want to. And then we see the 2 secret rares, and both of them, once again, are actually pretty good. Injection Fairy Lily has an ability where you could pay 2,000 life points during damage step when it battles, and it gains 3,000 attack points. It starts with only 400 points, but it can grow to 3,400, and that is huge for a fight. Like, there is almost nothing in this game that can out it in one hit. So, the only downside is you do pay a lot of life points, so it's very limited on how often you can use it. And then we have Yata-Garasu. Oh my god, Yata-Garasu. This card is one of 2 cards that primarily led to the creation of the ban list. This card is a spirit, so it bounces back at the end of your turn. But if it deals battle damage to your opponent, they skip their next draw phase. So if your opponent has nothing in their hand and you summon this, you basically win because you poke them for 200 points every turn, and there's nothing they can do about it. it is extremely degenerate, and if we see this in another card later down the road that can facilitate this a little easier, trust me, you're going to see some bullshit. But before we open into the packs, we have to discuss the current lists. And yes, I said lists, because there were actually 2 lists that happened in between Labyrinth of Nightmare and Legacy of Darkness. The April 2003 list is the primary one we have to see here, because this one took Sangan, Mage Power, United We Stand, and Magic Cylinder and limited them. Now for us, the only one that actually matters is Magic Cylinder goes to 1. So unfortunately our second copy has to go back into the trunk for now. However, there is one other list, and that is the May 2003 list. This one actually doesn't really change anything for us primarily. In fact, the only changes is that Sinister Serpent, Harpy's Feather Duster, and Graceful Charity are limited. Heavy Storm goes from 2 to 1. And this was because they released, I want to say this was, I'm trying to remember, I think this might have been Stairway to the Destined Duel that got released. And these were Sinister Serpent and Harpy's Feather Duster were video game promos. And they ended up limiting them about a month after the previous list. And with Graceful Charity coming out around this time in Starter Deck Pegasus, they had to nerf this to 2 copies as well. So this is actually a pretty big list in that regard. However, for our purposes, the only thing that mattered to us was Magic Cylinder got knocked to 1. So with that being the case, we're going to go ahead and get started on the packs. Okay, so 24 packs of Legacy of Darkness. So let's get this started. Flipping up, and very first pack, we actually hit a super rare Luster Dragon number 2. This is actually a pretty good card. It's a 1 tribute 2400 attack dragon. So it's not necessarily the best of things. However, this is a good card and a good 1 tribute at that. Let's see, we also hit a Dragon's Gunfire, which is pretty good. This card, if you have a dragon on the field, you could either deal 800 damage to an opponent's life points, or destroy an opponent's monster with 800 or less defense. Which is, both effects are actually pretty good for us. Unfortunately, it looks like that might be the only good cards out of this pack, but even still, that's a pretty good start. Okay, so second pack, we get ourselves a Magic Reflector, which is really good, and an Nava White Rabbit, which is really nice. I'm hoping we hit at least one more of each of these, because that could be really good. Warrior Digrapher is also a pretty good card, too. And the packs just keep on coming with good stuff here. A Dragon's Rage, which is really good. Bad Reaction to Samachi, that's also really good for us. A Dragon Dwelling in the Cave. And a Super Rejuvenation. Now, this card is actually kind of bad at the moment. However, later down the road, this actually becomes very, very crazy. During the end phase of the turn this card is activated, you draw a card for every dragon monster that you discard or tribute from your hand or field during that turn. Once we hit into Dragon Rulers, that format is going to make this card absolutely insane. So, very good pack for later down the road. Okay, so for fourth pack, we actually got an Emergency Provisions, which is pretty good, another Dragon's Gunfire, a Warrior Returning Alive, which is really good, and a Fiend Comedian, which is actually a very interesting trap card. When you activate this card, you toss a coin and call it. If you call it right, every card in your opponent's graveyard gets banished immediately. But if you call it wrong, you have to excavate a number of cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard equal to the number of cards in your opponent's graveyard. Now, this actually seems like a really bad effect to begin with if you get it wrong. However, later down the road, we're going to want a lot of cards in our graveyards, so this actually might be something to pay attention to for later down the road, because that's actually a pretty useful effect. Good grief. Okay, fifth pack, and this really is a big one for us. So first off, Ominous Fortune Telling, which is really good. If we can hit one more copy of this, I will be very happy there. We have a Bottomless Chapel. We really want to see 3 of these. And Tyrone Dragon as our ultra rare. This is a good card. During your battle phase, if you destroy an opponent's monster after your first attack and they control another monster, it can attack a second time. Any trap cards that target this card get negated, and this card does have one negative effect though, that it can't be special summoned from the graveyard unless you tribute a dragon monster. Now what this means is not that you could just tribute a dragon and bring it back. What it means is, if you were to play something like, say, Monster Reborn to target this card, you would have to tribute a dragon monster on top of the conditions of the revival card in order to bring this out. So it is a pretty heavy cost in that regard. That being said, if you're building a dragon-themed deck, then that secondary effect's actually not that bad. So we're definitely going to have to keep that in mind. Second bad reaction to Samachi, second Nava White Rabbit, another Fiend Comedian, and our first Legendary Ocean. This is a good solid pack. No big hits out of it, but definitely a lot of key cards in common that we want. Alright, another Warrior Returning Alive and another Dragon's Rage. That's pretty good. And Convulsion of Nature is actually a pretty funny card. As long as it's on the field, both players actually flip their decks upside down. So you can actually see the bottom card of everyone's deck and have an idea of what they're going to draw. Which, if I remember correctly, I think Dueling Book actually has a feature that allows you to do this, so that'll be kind of interesting. That being said, honestly, it's probably more of a gimmick than anything. Okay, so not a lot to really report here. We have another Dragon's Gunfire and another Ominous Fortune Telling, which are both pretty good. But honestly, that's about it for this pack. Okay, so we have a second copy of Bottomless Chapel, which is really good, and we're about halfway through. And now, I actually feel like I should probably mention this card, Patrician of Darkness. I just realized this is the second copy of it I have, and honestly, this might be something to pay attention to later. The effect of this card is just, you choose the attack targets for your opponent's attacks, which means that if you have this on the field and you have a really strong monster, and your opponent tries to attack over anything else, you could just make those monsters crash into your big guy. So this is actually a pretty decent card on its own. Holy shit, okay. Exile Force is a really, really fucking good pickup here. So, like I said earlier, you could tribute the Exile Force to target a monster on the field and destroy it. That's really good. And the fact that it has 1000 attack, that means that you could add it with Sangan. 1000 defense means you could add it to your hand from Witch. You could get it with Rhoda if we pull that. And we could retrieve it before you're returning alive, which by this point we've already pulled 3. So this is a really good card for us. Damn. Hopefully Rai doesn't pull that. Well, we are officially sons of bitches because we just pulled Royal Oppression. Whether we use that now or not is going to be up for debate. We'll figure that out later. But I can safely say that if this thing does not get banned early, this thing is going to wreck both of us in later formats, especially once we hit the Synchro era. Okay, this is a hell of a pack. So, not only did we get our third Bottomless Chapel, which is really good, but we pulled a ultra rare Dark Ruler Hades. This is actually really good. It can't be special summoned from the graveyard, which sucks, I will admit that. However, you negate the effects of any monster that's destroyed by battle with a Fiend monster you control. Hades here is a Fiend himself. So, with him on the field, if we build a Fiend-themed deck, then that basically is going to shut down everything like Magician of Faith, like Maneater Bug, like Hane. This is going to be big. At least if we pull what we need for a deck like this. Okay, I completely forgot that was in this set. Okay, so we just hit a super rare Dark Balter the Terrible. And this is actually a really good card in the GOAT format, because its effect is that whenever a normal spell is activated, you can negate it by paying 1000 life points, and any effect monster that this monster pops in battle gets negated as well. Now, the reason this is a good GOAT card is not because of the fact that it could be fusion summoned. that's actually not how it's summoned usually. The reason it's an important card is because this is a good target for Magical Scientist. And in fact, a lot of times, Magical Scientist uses this card in order to set up, like, well, to put it specifically, this is one of the cards that a lot of times gets used for Catapult Turtle fodder. If they're able to if they don't end up OTKing, they can at least get this after getting a little chip damage and send this off. And on top of that, this is a really good instant fusion target as well. So it's nice to see that. But we have 5 more packs. Let's see what we can pull here. And unfortunately, it looks like we didn't really hit anything else on this pack, which is a bit of a bummer. Another Stamping Extraction, though, which is at least nice. Okay, so only 2 more packs left. And so far, honestly, we've had a few decent hits, but I wonder if we can hit anything else good. Let's flip up the second to last pack. It doesn't look like we really hit anything spectacular. Another Opticlops is kind of nice, but that's about it. So let's see if we can hit anything else in this last pack. Come on, please. Last pack magic. Ooh, that's not what I wanted to see necessarily, but we got another Royal Oppression. And unfortunately, that looks like that's about it for notables. We have another Dragon dwelling in the cave, but that's about all. So, okay, so I guess we're going to take this and go into deck edit and see what we can do. Alright. I'm honestly not sure what I expected for the changes, but there really weren't too many. But I figured this worked out last time, so let's kind of stick with it and see what we can do. Especially because I feel like Rai's going to be playing more bullshit again, so let's go by card. We have 2 Aqua Spirit. Again, this is just for the sake of getting a monster out and maybe changing his monster's battle position. Because if he's going to be running on the defensive, this will help us get his monster into attack mode so we can beat over it. 1 copy of Cyberjar. Literally, the only monsters in our deck that cannot be brought out because of this thing are the 2 Aqua Spirits and the Crab Turtles. So anything else, we're good to go with that. 1 Exile Force. If he has something that we just cannot get over, then this will help us clear it out. 2 Magician of Faith to bring back the key spells we need. 1 Man-Eater Bug because it's still good removal and we're still kind of light on that. 1 Sangin. I've decided to cut Senju and Sonic Bird down to 1 copy. Because I've noticed that aside from the case of summoning them, aside from the case of using them for the ritual, they've kind of been clogging my hand a bit. 1 copy of Witcher the Black Forest, 3 copies of 7 Color Fish, 2 High Tide Gyojin, 2 Island Turtle, and the 2 Crab Turtle. For the spells, we have 2 Legendary Ocean. I really wish we had a 3rd, but 2 will be good for right now. Our Bait Doll is there primarily to help keep us from decking out. We have 1 copy of Fisher for removal. We have Heavy Storm, we have Pot of Greed, we have Raigeki. You know, broken DM staples. 2 Rush Recklessly, in case we really need a power push. We have the Swords of Revealing Light. We have the 2 Turtle Oath. And then for the traps, we have triple Bottomless Chapel. Thank goodness we pulled 3 of these. Now, granted, if Rai is playing defense, then we aren't going to need these as many times, so we can swap these out if need be. 1 copy of Imperial Order. 1 copy of the newly 1 copy of Magic Cylinder. That hurts to say that, but oh well. Robin Goblin is still in here, is now back in the main deck, because if we could rip cards out early, then that'll help us out. 1 copy of Solemn Wishes. This is actually here primarily to help deal with the Burning Land bullshit. And this will make it to where he has to have 2 on the field, and in that case, he will end up decking out, he will end up losing his life points faster than we will. And a copy of Spellbinding Circle just in case we end up needing it. For the extra deck, same monsters as before, they're pretty much there for show, but now Dark Balter the Terrible is showing up in his new cheerleading uniform to help provide more morale for the team. In the side deck, we have 1 Inaba White Rabbit. This is specifically so that way, if he is on a super stally deck, we could just summon this out, punch him in the face directly, bounce it back to our hand, and we're good to go. Tyrone Dragon is in here more or less for the opposite reason. If he has a monster on the field that we can't get over and he doesn't have a way to set up his board just yet, we could use this to beat it over, hit him a second time, and he can't really do anything with this thing on trap cards. So, 2 copies of Zambira of the Dark. Again, if he's running more offense than anything this time around, this will be there to help with that. 1 Amphibian Beast. I really wanted to keep this in the main deck, but because it's level 6, Legendary Ocean does not actually do anything to help it actively. So I'm better off sticking it in the side deck unless we absolutely need it. 1 copy of Cold Wave for if we want to make a final push. I cut Eternal Rest down to 1 copy because I feel like Rai is not going to be on the equipped spells anymore. But just in case he is, we're going to have that 1 copy here to help us out with that regard. 2 copies of Offerings to the Doomed if we really need that removal. 2 copies of Fairy Box because this is going to help if he's attacking. Then this will help us try to basically beat him on the power race, on the life point race. 2 copies of Royal Oppression. I really do not like the fact that I am touching this card. However, if Rai is absolutely playing anything that this card really wants to get rid of, then we can use it. The only downside is that does also mean that he can turn around and use it against us. And the 2 copies of Tornado Wall. We have 2 copies of Legendary Ocean, which is treated as Yumi. So, we can use this if we really need to, but we're only going to rely on it if, and only if, he's actually attacking us. So with that being said, guys, that's going to be what we're bringing to today's match. Hopefully we can take him down, and see what kind of bullshit he's brought. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to duel.
Alright, Legacy of Darkness. I have a lot of nostalgia for this set because this was the first set that released after I started playing the game. I ended up opening a lot of this set as a kid, and I loved it. This was a fantastic set.
See, this is kind of the same for me. Like, I had already started by this point, but I do remember some of the earliest packs I opened with stuff like Heart of Clear Water and stuff like that. I remember that was like one of my earliest memories, so this is going to be a fun set to work with.
It will.
So, let's see what happens. Ooh.
Darn.
Haha.
Alright then. Well, I guess you get the initiative. Good luck, duelist.
Good luck. Let's see.
First of all, how about you draw for your turn, Dingus?
Oh, right. There we go.
This isn't modern Yu-Gi-Oh! You do get to draw a card for your first turn.
Good point.
Maybe I shouldn't have said anything. Did you just draw that pot of green?
No, it was in my opening hand.
Why'd I open my big mouth?
I think I'll start by just setting a couple of cards and passing the turn.
Alright, draw for turn, standby, main. I also have a pot of green.
Alright.
We both got it.
First time in a while we both managed to pull it in the same game.
Alright, let me see your hand, please.
Oh.
What you got?
Oh, man.
I would like the Cyber Jar, please.
Fine.
Then you're not gonna like this. You're not gonna like this too much either. I am going to knock your set.
Oh, that actually really sucks, because that was my witch.
That's pretty good. Then I am going to just set a monster and pass.
Broken DM staples, everyone. You gotta love them.
Hey, I think this is the first time you've actually seen the knock.
Yeah, That actually kind of scares me now to know about that.
Yeah, can we just like knock away? We just knock away all those nasty flip effect monsters.
Well, I don't exactly like this, but I'm gonna run out Sonic Bird.
Thin out that deck.
Yeah, that's the thing. I have Turtle Oath in hand already, but I figure at least this will make sure I don't accidentally draw the other one. Alright. Caw-caw.
It's a moth.
Of course it is.
I'll get Pot of Greed.
Alright. So, main 2. Honestly, I guess I might as well just pass.
Draw for turn, stand by main, I'll fire Pot of Greed.
Alright, that's good.
I'll take some cards. Thinking. Do I want to get blown out by this silly card? Let's get started. I'm gonna normal summon Mahavilo.
Mahavilo. Alright.
Got the Bottomless?
I do not.
Alright, let's go to battle phase. I'll attack into Sonic Bird for 150 damage.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Alright. Then after combat, I'm going to set a back row. And I will end my turn. I know you've got the Fissure, so there's no point in loading this thing up.
Yeah.
And I know you have to deal with it.
Yeah,
I figured this would. I figured this would get the Fissure out of your hand.
I will set a card, and then I guess I will set a card, and I will pass.
Draw for turn, stand by main. I don't think I can turn the 2-for-1 down. Thanks for giving this to me, by the way.
Ah, shit. Yeah, I'll have to mention that later, but...
Did I get some good ones?
You got a Bottomless and my Spellbinding Circle, so yeah, you got a couple of good ones.
Nice.
So, yeah, I'll have to explain that one to everyone later.
Yup. Alright, I think that's an island turtle you have set. But if it's not... Like, I'm pretty sure that's an island turtle. Do I want to face check it, though? I don't think so. I'm gonna set a monster and pass.
Alright, draw.
Boy, this is super exciting gameplay we have here.
I think I'm going to go ahead and set a monster and pass again.
Alright, draw for turn, stand by main. I'm going to set again and pass.
Alright. Alright, draw. Stand by main.
You gonna tribute summon that Tyrone Dragon?
It would look kind of nice if I did, but unfortunately I don't have it at the moment. I'm gonna run out a High Tide Gyojin.
You got it.
And, let's see what you got here.
You get Witch of the Black Forest. I'm gonna grab... What do I want to grab here? Let's go ahead and grab Vilo. Let's get the boy.
Alright. I will set a card and I will pass.
Draw for turn, stand by main. Banking. Let's do it. I'll flip my other Magician of Faith.
Oh, crap.
I'll get Pot of Greed. I'll fire it.
3 times in one game.
Hey, the last time we had this, where I played Pot of Greed 3 times in one game, I still lost.
True, true.
Boy, those were not very good draws.
This is gonna be interesting.
I am going to normal summon 7 colored fish.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Alright. I will go to the battle phase and I will just hit into your High Tide Gyojin for 150.
Damage step. Let's go ahead and rush.
So that's 2350, huh?
So you'll be taking 550 instead.
You got it. That's pretty good. Alright, after combat, I'm going to... I'm gonna go ahead and just Fisher the High Tide Gyojin away.
So much for capitalizing.
Oh.
Yeah, that. I'll be honest, that wasn't what I wanted to... Oh, you've got to be shitting me. Okay. That wasn't what I wanted to, what I wanted to use the Rush Recklessly on, but... Alright. Well, I guess I'll flip my Magician of Faith.
Alright, well, I guess you get the Pot of Greed now.
Yep. So...
Then... Yeah, that's fine. Then where is that island turtle I saw? That must be your other set.
This is not what I was expecting. Alright.
Boy, the life totals do not tell the story of this game at all.
No, they do not.
Oh, you're gonna crash the Magicians?
Yeah, we're gonna crash.
That's amusing.
Main 2, I will set a card. And I set a card and pass.
Draw for turn, stand by, main. Well, you're not gonna like this too much. I'm actually gonna knock this set.
Well, you're probably you're not gonna like it much either, depending on if you have another.
I have used both of mine.
And it looks like I have as well.
I'll make sure, but I'm pretty sure I only have 2.
See, that's kind of the downside to knock, is the fact that if it's a key flip monster, then both sides kind of get nailed on it.
I'm gonna set a monster and pass. Not much attacking going on in this game.
Right. Ugh. Alright, you're up.
Alright. Draw for turn, stand by, main. I will normal summon Twin-Headed Behemoth.
Ooh, you got one.
Okay, so let's go ahead and make this clear for the audience. This card has an interesting history to it. As the text stands right now, this is the only card in the game with a soft once per duel effect. So we need to do our best to try to keep track of this exact card.
Well,
the effect triggers immediately, and it's a soft once per duel.
The funny thing is, they actually finally errated it to make it hard once per duel. But
yes.
It took God knows how long.
But that's not. But there's also another reason why I'm playing this. I'm going to activate Stamping Destruction targeting your set.
Oh, shit, I forgot Behemoth was a dragon. Yeah, you got my magic cylinder, so that's a good hit. That was a really good trade, too.
Oh, yeah. Alright, I'm gonna go to battle phase. I'm pretty sure this is an island turtle, but I think I need to face check it. Yep.
Yep, it is the turtle.
Go. I figured it was, but I had to make sure.
Oh, man, this is not looking good. I will set a card, and I will pass.
Alright, draw for turn, stand by main. math. Alright. I think I'm just going to go for it. I am going to flip summon Hane Hane and bounce your turtle.
Ugh. Alright.
I am going to normal summon Hayabusa Knight.
Ah, crap. Not that thing again.
I'm going to activate Malevolent Nuzzler.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm going to activate Blast with Chain.
Oh my god, okay. So that thing's 2200.
Yeah. So I'm going to go to battle phase, and I'm going to attack with everything. Starting with this, it's going to be 6350 total. Go!
Oh, come on! That's not what I wanted to see. Ugh. Well, I don't really have much of a choice. I have to fire off this.
That will do it. So this will go, this will go,
Thankfully,
this
that
will go,
bypasses
this will
Blast
go,
with Chain.
this will get summoned in defense and will be 1000.
Oh, it's not during the end phase?
It's immediate. It's
Oh,
immediate.
wow. Okay.
It's immediate. That is the old text, and this is where the problem is.
Well, I'll set to and pass.
Alright, draw for turn, stand by, main. This could backfire really badly, but I think I have to take the window where I can get it. Philo? Got the Bottomless?
I do not.
Nuzzler?
Yeah, alright.
I'll switch Behemoth to attack.
Okay.
Battle phase. 2750.
Oh, God.
And then you go to 50 life points. Go.
End phase. Let's flip
Well,
the
you're
Solemn
not at
Wishes.
50 life points anymore. Yup.
It's like,
That'll give you a little breathing room.
I mean, a little, not much. However, this will
Not
give
much.
me a decent bit. I will fire off a Sword to Revealing Light.
Combined with that Solemn Wishes, that'll give you a lot of breathing room. Draw for turn, stand by main.
God.
Set a back row. Pass, one turn on swords.
Alright. Draw. So. Stand by main. I will set a monster. And I will pass.
Draw for turn, stand by main. I'm gonna run out of Zombira and pass.
Alright, so that's turn 2. Draw. That's not what I wanted to see. Well, I guess that's not necessarily accurate. Alright. What the hell? Let's run out Guillotine.
Sure.
And let's go ahead and deal with this behemoth now.
Sure, I'll take 650.
And I will pass.
Alright, draw for turn, stand by main. I'm going to set a back row, and I will pass the turn.
And swords will
Your
expire.
swords expire.
Draw. Ooh, that's a card. I don't know if it necessarily does much to help me. Well, actually... actually, that kind of does help me, I think.
Oh, what do you have?
Okay, so I'm gonna first. Okay, I'm gonna first flip my Maneater bug and pop your Maha Vilo.
That's pretty good.
Will you pay 500?
No.
Alright. Next,
I think I've been through 2 of them.
I'm gonna banish my High-Tide Gyojin.
You have an Aqua Spirit?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
that's
do.
pretty good.
And I'm going to end my turn.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good.
So during your standby phase,
So
we're gonna put your Zambira into defense.
During standby. Not set. It does say face up. Main one.
I was gonna say, if it's set the monster, that would make this card completely unplayable as opposed to partially unplayable.
Well, it's actually just fine as another body because we don't have a ton of special summons.
True.
I'm just gonna pass.
Alright. Draw.
That's so many life points.
That actually kind of helps me, I think. Alright, so I'm gonna start by running out a Sandkin.
You got it.
I'm going to then activate my Turtle Oath.
I am going to chain Mask of Restrict.
Oh. That... Wait, you have a Mask of Restrict? Oh, shit.
Yup.
Wow, that's actually really bad for me now. Alright.
That's my answer to your crab raid, buddy.
Yeah, that kind of does it. Shit. Okay. So I'm going to switch the Maneater bug to defense then. And, alright. So, Sand can go into your Zambira.
I will proceed to eat the rest of your board.
And that is exactly why I switched Maneater to defense. Because I have to be the thing. Alright. Well, Sandgen's effect gets to go off.
We're both pretty low on resources.
We are. Let's see.
What do you have?
I guess I will add an island turtle to my hand.
Yeah, remember when I said when my Labyrinth of Nightmare pulls were not very good?
Yeah, that... Admittedly, that actually kind of came in handy for you, though.
It did, yeah. It did, yeah. I just wasn't sure. I'm glad I decided to play this main deck. Alright, draw for turn, standby main. I'm gonna go ahead and put this Zambira into the correct mode. Then I'm going to run out of Sandgen of my own. Gotta put you on some kind of clock.
True.
Proceed to the battle phase. I will run over the Maneater bug.
Alright.
Zambira becomes a 19. 1000 direct. After combat, I will set one. Go.
Alright. I draw. Stand by main.
Yeah, no ritual summons, buddy.
Well, I guess I'll have to set a card and set it. Oh, well. Forget that. Forget what you saw. Wow,
It happens.
Okay, what the hell is going on? Dueling books laggy as crap today for me. Okay, so anyway, I'll set this random face down card. It could be anything.
Could be anything. Could be anything.
And I will pass the turn.
Alright, draw for turn. Stand by main. Boy, if that's a 2K defender, this is just gonna backfire so badly. I'm gonna do it though. Just because this puts you on an actual clock. I am going to, and this is the first time I think I've ever done this, I'm going to normal summon Cyberjar.
Oh my god.
Battle phase. 19 into your set. If this is a 2K defender. Like, 2K defender is the punish here.
I'm surprised you did that, because you knew I added Island Turtle to my hand.
After combat, get it out of there.
Oh. Yeah, that's, hell.
That's the reason why.
Fair.
Like, if it's not the Island Turtle, then you're just in a bad day, and if it is the Island Turtle, I can out it. Go ahead.
Right. Alright, draw. Okay, that's actually one of the better cards it could have been for me. I'm gonna run out 7 colored fish.
Sure.
Do you have a bottomless?
Nope. No bottomless.
Alright, battle phase. Let's go ahead and eat that jar.
Sure, I take mine. Alright, draw for turn. Stand by main.
I can't believe the Solemn Wishes has actually been keeping me alive.
Well, I'm gonna run out Philo.
And this time I have to bottomless it.
That's fine. I do have another answer for your monster, though. I am going to snatch steal your 7-colored fish.
Oh. Yep. That was...
What a game, dude, and that was only game 1.
Yep. Yeah, this is gonna be insane. Also, seriously, dude. Massacre Strike?
I think this...
What the fuck? Oh, man, like...
What?
Of all the things for me to have to worry about now.
You're playing your ritual deck. Why not?
Fair. Alright, standby main. I think I'm gonna set a card. And I will set a card.
Alright, draw for turn, standby main. I'm going to knock your set.
Fuck. Alright, that was my Island Turtle.
Cool. Cool. Philo?
Yeah.
Sims?
Ah, crap. Okay.
Battle phase? 2750?
This would have been a lot better had my Island Turtle still been around, but, I'm gonna activate Fairy Box. Let's see if you could hit the Diglett.
Yeah, Fairy Box is pretty good.
I'm gonna call heads. Thank you.
Yep. Yep. Go.
Alright.
Alright, please pay for your Fairy Box.
I will pay 500. And... Ooh, okay. Well, thankfully I have a Fisher to deal with Vilos, so that's not that bad.
Yeah, that dingus. Get him out of here.
I'm also gonna throw out a Senju of the Thousand Hands, so I can not only get myself an island turtle. I mean, not an island turtle, a crab turtle.
Oh, do you already have it in hand?
No, it's just that this way I could thin the deck,
You
and
already have ritual material.
and I could punch in.
Not this turn.
Main phase 2. And I guess I'm good to set it and go.
Alright, draw for turn, standby, main. So I know you have a ritual. I'm just gonna set a monster and pass.
Alright, I draw.
Alright. Alright, would you like to pay for Fairy Box?
Wait. Oh, I can't believe I get to do that. Okay, so, standby. I will pay for Fairy Box. Main phase 1. You had it. I had Turtle Oath in hand. And I'm going to actually pitch my level 8 Tyrant Dragon.
Oh, I was actually talking about how this card is just a crazy bomb.
It really is. Now, granted, the restriction on its special summoning effect is kind of shit, but honestly, if you're playing a dragon-themed deck, it's actually not that bad. For right now, it's actually just a good beater and a good way to clear out the field, so...
Yeah, it's effectively a 2900 double attacker that's immune to targeted traps.
Yep.
Which there are going to be a lot of.
Oh, yeah. So, let's go ahead and hit your defense, because... And I am glad I did that.
You get my 2k defender. I'll take the 14. Draw for turn, standby, main. Set a monster. Go ahead.
Alright, I draw. Alright. I will
Keep
pay
that
the
fairy
500.
box up? Yep.
Alright, so battle phase. Let's go ahead. Let's see what you got.
Alright, it's a Witch of the Black Forest. I'll take 14 from the Senju, and I'll resolve my search.
Alright.
I think this is my best out.
Main phase 2. I will set a card, and I will pass.
Alright, draw for turn, standby, main. I'll set a monster. Could be anything. I'll set a back row too. Go ahead.
Alright.
Could be anything.
Standby, I think...
Want to keep it up another turn?
I think I'm going to go ahead and let Fairy
You're gonna
Box
let it go. Okay.
Because I at least have Raigeki to clear out that Cyber Jar.
That was that was what I was worried about. That will be the end of the game.
Whew. Alright.
Well, that game 2 was noticeably shorter than game 1, but I will take the play in game number 3.
Alright.
Good luck, buddy.
Good luck.
Alright, draw for turn. Thank you. Standby, main. Let's set a pair. Go.
Alright, I draw. Standby main. Oh, okay. Why not? Let's go ahead and run out a 7-colored fish.
You got it.
And I'm going to activate a Legendary Ocean.
Yep. That's a good card.
So 2k.
They bonk.
Ooh. All right. Main 2. I'll set a card and pass it to you.
Alright, draw for turn, stand by, main. I'll set another monster and pass the turn.
All right. Draw. Stand by main.
Yeah, ALO is pretty good.
I kind of forgot that we got it this early. For some reason, I thought it was an Ancient Sanctuary.
No, it's in this set. It doesn't get super good until I think Invasion of Chaos, but it's definitely a deck you have to worry about.
Oh,
You
yeah.
get my Witch of the Black Forest. I'm going to grab. What deals with this? God, he's so big. Boy, I really don't want to have to do this, but I think I have to get this now.
Ah, jeez. Okay.
Draw for turn, stand by main. I will set a monster, could be anything, and then I will pass my turn.
Alright, draw. Stand by main. Well, I guess I might as well... I'm gonna go ahead and fire off Swords Revealing Light.
It is the Cyber Jar.
As I figured.
Those are pretty good.
Ooh, Hayabusa Knight and a Cave Dwelling Dragon. Along with Shadow of Ice. Fisher.
Unfortunately, with that Rush Recklessly, I have to put the Hayabusa Knight in defense.
So I'm gonna go ahead and put Sangin in attack. I'll put Magician in defense. And then I will add my Heavy to my hand, as well as Bottomless and Rush Recklessly.
Yup.
And the nice thing about actually drawing swords is that this means I can actually go into... okay. Which one was which, actually?
The one in the Sanyan column is the Hayabusa Knight. I'm sure you want that one dead.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it's public knowledge. It's just that I was paying attention to what else was getting added, so...
Yup.
Stand by.
Yup.
I guess I will just set a card.
Boy, that heavy.
And I will pass.
Boy, that heavy storm is bad news. Draw for turn, stand by main. I guess I'll just set a pair. Oh wait, I still have 7 in hand. Let's set this too. I'm gonna lose it to Heavy Storm, but I don't know if you want a Heavy Storm on this board.
I was gonna say that's kind of the issue, is the fact that I don't necessarily want to lose my board to get rid of them.
Yeah, I didn't think you'd want to lose your board either.
Man, this is not... Well, my thing against acting is a bit of insurance, so I guess I could summon out 7-color fish.
You got it.
Alright. Let's go ahead and hit your new monster.
Sure.
Alright. Sangin will attack into the behemoth during damage step.
Okay, Oh, yeah, that'll do. That'll get rid of it.
And then... save myself a headache right away.
Alright, draw for turn, stand by, main. I'll set another monster and pass the turn.
Alright, that's 2 turns on swords. That was not what I wanted to do.
Yeah,
I wanted to hit standby.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where does Sandkin go?
Let's see. The question here is how much can this push? I would be losing a fair amount of... See, this is where it actually gets kind of frustrating to start with. Okay, so first, I think I'm going to activate Heavy Storm.
Yep. Yeah, that's fine. You get Stim Pack, you get Shadow of Eyes, and you get a card I don't believe you've seen yet. You get my 7 tools.
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay. Now I'm going to flip summon my Magician of Faith and retrieve my swords.
That's disgusting.
Now I'm going to activate my Turtle Oath.
That is... Oh my god. That's
See,
disgusting, dude.
Here was an interesting little detail. Because of what Turtle Oath is requiring for its text, even though my Crab Turtle in hand was level 7, I still had to sack off 8 stars.
Yup.
So I will sack off my Magician of Faith, my Sandkin.
Yup. Yup.
So Sandkin's effect activates.
Yeah, you have the Sandkin effect too. Yep, you have the Sandkin effect too.
Let's see. So you've already set off Cyberjar.
Yeah, that... Having to fire that Cyberjar during your main phase is what hurt me so much.
I think I'm... Yeah, I feel like I have to try to push here. I'm gonna add Exile Force to my hand.
Oh, must be nice to open a good card. You have a normal this turn, have you?
No, I have not. So, let's go ahead and take care of your Cave Dragon.
Sure. 2k defender. You got my 2k defender.
And let's go ahead and just be proactive. Let's fire off swords now. Okay. What? Oh, damn, you pulled two.
Yeah, I have another one.
That's why you were mentioning about the soft once per duel thing.
Interesting, because it's a soft once per duel. Yeah, this is where things get a little complicated.
Crap.
Thankfully, this card gets limited on the next... This card does get limited on the next list, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll double crash him.
Yeah, clear it out, yeah.
Yeah, Christ. Like, it honestly kind of blows my mind that Konami just kept it limited for so long instead of errataing it in order to make it hard once per duel.
You have one card in hand?
Yes, I do. See, this is where it's interesting, because I only have one card in hand. You've got a full hand. So this could be something.
This is ugly. Well, I'm going to set 2 back row. Then I'm going to normal summon Baja Philo, and then activate Malevolent Nuzzler.
Ew. Okay, so
it's
so you can't...
2750. Yeah, it's 2750. It keeps the Crab Turtle away, but
does.
I can't attack because of swords. Swords is on 1 turn.
Oh, right. Okay. Thankfully, we do have an out to Vilo.
You're still playing that?
I had it in my side.
So terrible.
I actually had it in my side deck, and the minute I saw Vilo, I was like, let me toss that in here. Just on the off chance I actually need it.
Still playing that garbage. Oh my god.
Now, I'm going to be smart here, because I have a feeling you have a Mirror Force in play. So, let's switch Turtle to defense, and then go after you for 18.
Sure.
Main 2, I will set a card, and I will pass it to you.
Alright, draw for turn. Stand by main. I will set a monster and pass.
Alright, during the end phase, Solemn
Yep.
Wishes.
More life points!
Oh, right, that's 2 turns on swords.
Also, why is the aggro deck up on cards right now? This makes no sense. Sure.
Why not? Let's YOLO.
That's a moth.
Oh, shoot. That's... Well, I mean, depending on what you got in hand, that could be scary.
I don't
but...
have much good targets, I just have Nuzzler.
And then I will hit for 18.
Sure. Alright, draw for turn, stand by, main. Set a monster, and pass. Your Swords of Revealing Light expire.
Right. Draw.
9,000 life points, that's so much.
Especially when you got big ol' crab boy over here guarding the gate.
Put him in your hand.
Well, so much for guarding the gate, I guess.
I will take the 18, though.
Alright. Main phase 2, I will set a card and pass.
Draw for turn, stand by, main. You have 2 in hand.
Yes, I do. You do know one of them. You know one is Crab
Yeah,
Turtle.
I know one is Crab Turtle. So that's... God, if you have Fairy Box set, this is so bad. I don't think I can risk Fairy Box. I think I have to Fisher.
Ooh. Alright.
Yeah, I think I have to Fisher it. Alright. What am I more afraid of? Am I more afraid of Bottomless Chapel, or am I more afraid of Fairy Box? You've gone through 2 of those. I think I'm gonna play around Bottomless, so I'm gonna run out of Hayabusa Knight. This also kind of plays around Fairy Box, too.
It does.
Nuzzler.
Alright.
Battle phase. 17.
I will take the full 34.
Just taking it all?
Yeah.
Okay. Already used that. I am going to set another back row and end.
Alright. Draw. I'm going to set a monster.
I'm gonna shadow it.
Oh.
If you turn it up, please.
Damn it. Okay.
I hear this card is really good against Magician of Faith.
Yeah, it is. Oh, that's gonna be
Alright, draw for
troubling.
turn. Stand by, main. Let's go to battle. Alright. I mean, if you had it, you had it.
Funny enough, I actually have it. I beat it out by 100 points.
Yeah, not good. Go!
Draw. And I'm not gonna be reckless with that. I'm gonna just set a card. I'm gonna set a card and switch my turtle back to defense. He doesn't like poking his head out too much.
I didn't think so. Draw for turn, stand by, main. Okay, good. At least I top decked something that can hopefully out this. It's a Vilo.
Ew.
I top deck Nuzzler.
Ew.
Battle phase. Hit.
Alright. Well.
Oh, you just drew it. Okay.
Yep. Diglet dig! Tails.
Yup, please kill this.
That
cool.
sucks. Alright.
Go.
Alright.
Well, you can keep Fairy Box up indefinitely, which is pretty good.
Yep.
For you.
So I'm going to set a monster and pass. I realize I could have done something else earlier, but I kind of screwed the pooch there.
Stand by main. Knock.
Damn it. Alright, fine.
That's pretty good. I don't have any.
Yeah, I only have the one, so.
Alright. 2750.
As much as I would like to play Fairy Box again, I'm gonna Offerings this right now.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That one. Go ahead.
So unfortunately, I do have to pay the Fairy Box this time. And it does kind of leave me without anything to really work with. But that I can't. It was either that or take the 50-50.
Yeah, that's also just a huge hit.
Yeah.
Draw for turn, stand by, main. Thank God I drew a monster. Alright, battle phase. Hit.
Alright. Heads. Thank you.
Alright. Yep. Go.
Alright. Draw.
Yeah, back to your infinite fairy box.
Let me
Draw for turn. Stand by. Oh, do you need to leave?
Oh no.
Okay.
I'm just reminding myself of something.
Oh, thank God, I finally drew this.
Son of a bitch. This was what I was talking about. I forgot about that twice.
Oh, you didn't bottomless the... Oh, yeah, Magic Cylinder I was super scared of. Battle phase 18.
Damn it. Okay.
Go.
Draw.
Yeah, I was just waiting to draw Feather Duster.
Well,
bail me out of this.
It ain't much, but it's honest work.
I gotta stop this.
Damn it. Alright.
I'm awful low on life, though, is the problem. But
yeah,
in a game, like, we are on an extremely simplified game state right now.
Well, not only that, you have a pretty good beater. Like, if you had, say, a Hayabusa Knight right now, then yeah, your life being low would be kind of scary. But at the moment, 1800's a pretty good defense.
Go!
Draw. Oh, you You've got to be shitting me. Alright, I'll set a card and pass.
Yeah, and your magic cylinder is already gone, so I don't have to worry about that. Alright, 18.
Anything a damage step?
Nope.
Alright.
I do have a back row, though. Go.
Oh, thank God. I at least have this.
Yep. Draw for turn, stand by main. I do have the Fisher.
And yeah, that's game.
Okay, so here's the...
Ice True Tornado Wall.
Yeah, that was awful. So here's the thing that I was groaning about earlier.
Ew.
This was a stamping destruction, and I had another stamping destruction, but I had already drawn every dragon in my deck.
Really? You only had... Oh, you only had
Otherwise,
3.
I could have taken...
Oh, you had 4. Never mind.
4. I played 4.
Honestly,
like,
that's the thing.
Well,
Stamping's a good card. It really is. Like, it requires a little bit of setup, but it's pretty damn good.
I was already playing Giant Soldier of Stone as a 2K defender, so I was just trying to figure out what monsters I could swap in to play like any remotely playable dragons, just to be able to get actual back row removal. Which it made those fairy boxes a lot less of an issue. I just could not. I just happened to draw all my dragons. And I was really thinking about trying to hold one of the twin-headed behemoths back, but if I didn't, that would have cost me the game.
Right.
This was a blast with Chain.
Yeah, that could have been an issue.
I am very, very happy to snap that losing streak, and that was a very, very long and close and back and forth match. I mean, look at our life totals. Our life totals were so close the entire game. Like, the entire match almost... Well, Game 2 was short, but... Games 1 and 3 were really drawn out. I thought you played very well. Just, yeah, I also drew Knock a lot, which helped a bunch. Because in Pharaoh's Servant and Labyrinth of Nightmare, I never drew Knock.
Right. Yeah, yeah, the fact that you've dropped Knock now definitely threw me off, because I was not expecting that.
Yup.
You know, the funny thing is, I think for the most part you saw that I pulled. I did get a Dark Balter the Terrible, and I actually got a Luster Dragon number 2, which is kind of nice. And then I pulled the Dark Ruler Hades as well, but I don't really have the Fiends to support him.
The only holo that I got that you didn't see was Reinforcement of the Army.
See, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
I didn't want to play it in here because literally my only targets for it are Zombira and my one
Hayabusa.
My one Hayabusa. I don't have any other warriors worth playing.
Right. But hey, that's going to be really good for later down the road for other decks.
So yeah, those are all the holos I got out of Legacy of Darkness. You also might notice something else that's missing from my deck. I'll just go the rest of it out. But yeah, you might notice something else is missing. And it's really frustrating.
Let's see.
And no, they're not in my side deck either.
I don't see them. I'm honestly not sure what I'm missing here.
I didn't get any Bottomless Chapel.
Oh, shit. Oh, that's actually kind of bad, because I pulled 3.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's, oh, man, that's gonna be a pretty serious problem for you. Like, because...
Oh, yeah.
Like, Bottomless is pretty much a mainstay up until it gets limited, and even for a good while afterwards.
Oh, we're going to be playing Bottomless Chapel. It does get some reprints relatively soon. I think in like Dark Beginning 2, it's reprinted as a common.
I think so. So, alright, so we do, since this deck, okay, this match was important for us because this one actually gave the winner a choice between starter deck Pegasus and Joey, so which one do you want to take?
Is relevant for a long, long time. Off of the, or do I want packs? I'm actually considering packs, believe it or not.
Ooh.
I'm trying to decide because there's also some other cards I'd like to get out of old sets, but
yeah, I definitely don't blame you on that one.
It's going to be a hard decision, and I'll make that decision soon enough. But those were great games, and you'll have a lot to think about because in our next episode, the Pharaonic Guardian episode, is going to be our first round of ban.
Yeah, that's going to be a key one. And let's see, the fact that we're currently 3-3, how does that stand in terms of the bans?
The winner of the next game, or the loser of the next game, rather, is going to get one ban more than the next.
So that's going to be 2-3?
It'll be 2-3, yeah.
Okay, so that's going to be important. Let me take a quick look through here one more time to get an idea.
Alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and decide on what I want.
Yeah, so, I'm going to go ahead and do that, too.
I will see you for the next match.
Alright.
What a set, dude. That is not going... Yeah, I feel sorry. I'm going to feel sorry for both of us when we go to edit this because the match was an hour raw. Yeah, that was an hour raw.
Okay, so unfortunately for us, we did lose that match, which meant that Rai got the choice of which deck he wanted to take. The choices were between starter deck Pegasus and starter deck Joey, or the alternative of taking a wheel spin for packs or wildcards. Now, he did decide that he wanted to take starter deck Joey, and the reason is actually because of one card in it, Scapegoat, which I cannot fault him for at all. Scapegoat is a very, very strong card. However, we did get to actually... That means we get to pick up starter deck Pegasus, which is good. Now, as a quick refresher on how this works, we do not get every single card in this deck. That would be we feel like that would be too much for us. So instead, any card in the deck that was not a part of a core set printing up to this point, we get a copy of. So that means that Relinquished, Red Archery Girl, Ryuran, cards like these, we don't actually get any of. So scrolling through the list, it looks like Toon Alligator I think we might get a copy of, but realistically speaking, we're not going to make much use of that card anyway, so it's not that big a deal. So yeah, unfortunately, most of the monsters are ones that came in core sets alongside, pretty much that came in the core sets leading up to Magic Ruler. So, unfortunately for us, we're not going to be able to get most of these. However, that's perfectly fine with me because there's actually a few key spell and trap cards that we get that are actually really helpful here. If the page would actually be willing to scroll. Okay, there we go. So for example, D-Spell. This one we actually get another copy of. We already had one from the starter deck. However, our ruling is, since it is not from a core set, we get a copy of it even though we got one from before. Or, well, actually no, we didn't get one from before. I'm sorry. Rai got one from before, so never mind that. But the point I meant was, even if we had a copy of this from a previous deck, we actually still get a copy of it, as long as it didn't come from a core. So unfortunately, we don't get Change of Heart, for example, which is really sad because that'd be really good. Mystical Space Typhoon, also a really good card that we're not going to get a copy of, which is disappointing. But this is perfectly fine because the next few cards are going to be some of the big ones here. Once again, I need it to scroll, but looks like Yu-Gi-Oh! Card.com is acting a bit sluggish. There we go. So here's the first one, Graceful Charity. This card is easily the card that made me want this deck in the first place. It is banned at the moment, and pretty much it actually got limited on this set that we just played. So yeah, this is a really strong card. It lets you draw 3 cards and then discard 2. Which, under normal circumstances, yeah, in a way, it only lets you go neutral. But you still get to cycle through 3 cards, which is really good. And we're going to add an extra thing to it in a moment. There's another thing I need to discuss in a moment that is going to make this even better. However, we're going to get to that in a second. Scrolling through the cards further down, we get a copy of Reinforcements, a copy of Castle Walls, a copy of Waboku. Waboku is definitely the card out of these 3 that I want the most, because you take no battle damage during this turn that it's activated. Your monsters can't be destroyed by battle that turn. There are a few archetypes later down the road, particularly Gladiator Beasts, that relish in this kind of thing. So if we pull a good Gladiator Beast core and we have Waboku, that means that we're really going to be in a good position there. And finally, there's actually a very good card here, Ultimate Offering. During your main phase or your opponent's battle phase, you could pay 500 life points, and immediately after, you could normal summon or set a monster from your hand. Now granted, if it is a tribute monster, you still have to tribute monsters for it. But this is a good way to get extra monsters on the field during your turn. And it is a very strong card, and I'm happy to see that we have it. And finally, and this is a bit of a meme, but they actually have a copy of Griffin Wing. Now, the reason I say this is a meme is because this is one of those cards that only work on a very specific card. In this case, it only works when the opponent activates Harpy's Feather Duster. If that happens, you get to negate the card and destroy all spell and traps your opponent controls. So basically, you turn the tide on them. Now, I will admit, this is definitely a really stupid card, and if I play this, I'm probably going to deserve to lose. However, if it goes off and succeeds once, then it is worth it. And honestly, even if not, we always have an option to ban Harpy's Feather Duster down the road if it becomes too much of a problem. Now, so that's the end of the prize we get for this duel. However, there is actually something we need to discuss. Video game promos. So, what Ryan and I had come up with was, we decided that since we want to try to introduce as many cards from different sources, I guess you could say, as we can, we decided we're going to include the video game promo cards. Now, granted, most of these suck. However, these are actually pretty good in some cases, and Dark Duel Stories is actually not a bad example of this. So, to start with, there were actually 2 different waves released. So, what we decided to do was, we decided to go first on... We decided we were going to go first with these as 6 cards, as a total of 6 cards, I'm sorry, as opposed to Wave 1 and Wave 2. So, what happened here, then, is the 6 cards we have available are the Blue Eyes White Dragon, Dark Magician, Exodia the Forbidden One, Sayaru, Acid Trap Hole, and Salamandra. So, what we decided was, the winner of the match in the appropriate time frame was going to get the first pick, the loser takes a pick, and then we go back and forth. The idea was so that way the winner gets their choice, while the loser doesn't end up with absolute crap. And these are all bonuses here. We've decided we're not going to have this act as a replacement for the wheel, like the starter decks are. So since Rai won, the set associated with this game was The Legend of Blue Eyes White Dragon. So unfortunately, because this came out in March. So, since Rai won that one, he actually gets to pick who gets to go first. Like, he got to pick first, and he chose the Dark Magician. However, that means that we got to pick Exodia the Forbidden One. Now, I said at the very beginning of the series that if we could pull Exodia's head, that would make things fun because we can actually pull Exodia's other pieces in future sets at a lower rarity. So, this time around, we actually get Exodia for free here, which means that we can actually build that deck if we get the other pieces. Now, with Exodia's head combined here, we actually have 3 pieces. So we only need to pull the other 2. Now, for the second pick, Rai decided to go with Acid Trap Hole because it's actually a really good card and arguably the best of the 6 cards available. So with that, we took our second pick to be the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Now, the reason for this is not really because we want to use this card, but more because it means that he doesn't get a chance to get a second copy of it now. He wanted to focus on other usable cards and combo cards.